All right. Well, welcome back to Tac Visor podcast, OverWatch League podcast. It is week 19. Today is, let me check my watch, June 17th, even though I've written it down 1,000 times at work. And we're going to go over week 19 of the OverWatch League. Not too crazy of a week as we have seen. A lot more one-sided matches this week. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm? Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Definitely only about one match that went a way I didn't think it was gonna go. There was another one that I thought was gonna be a little closer, maybe, but it turned out that it was definitely not. But we started the week 19 with Shanghai versus London. It went about as expected. London hasn't been playing super well. They've held their own in a couple matches where I didn't think they were going to, but I mean, you're playing against the best team in the league right now, and it looked exactly like they were playing against the best league in the team. Yeah, league and the best team. I'm tired, guys. I'm so tired. Right, yeah. Hmm. Sidebar. Hmm. Hmm. Which they so easily can do when you watch Shanghai. If you fall behind, especially early on, once they get in a rhythm, there's not really much you can do. And I'm glad that you brought up with their tanks putting out so much damage. I think that people forget that unlike some other games where your tank, just doesn't, they're just there to take damage. They don't really dish it out. They don't really do any support things. Overwatch tanks can deal a ton of damage. As we know, like when I play attack Diva quite a bit. You can put out a ton of damage as these off tanks and tanks. Reinhardt's hammer does 75 damage per swing and it can hit multiple people. Orisa can put out headshots. There's a lot that can happen with these people and with the tank players. So I think that that's part of their success is that not only do they have these stellar DPS uh, players in Lip and Fleta and even Deding that can step in there and play just about anything. And Diem doesn't even really play. That's the crazy thing. That's how stacked they are. Right? It really has. For good reason. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you can't out heal or out position the amount of damage that they put out. You just can't. Their DPS are off the charts, and their tanks putting out that much damage. That's you can't account for that. You account for the DPS putting out damage. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be getting in position. But as soon as you turn your back and you're focusing on those DPS, all of a sudden you've got, a Winston nanoed and killing 3 people. So I think that's been a large part of their success. Not that their support or any scrubs, they definitely do exactly that, but their tank and DPS play are really, really phenomenal. The second match, of course, in the morning, which NYXL has been playing a lot in the morning, and so has the Dynasty. You and me both. This match, I was very excited about as a former Titans fan who has now changed because the organization went to crap, but we had discussed that already. Haxel was one of my favorite players, and I really enjoyed watching him play, so I was very excited and a little conflicted when he joined NYXL, because I don't like to root for every team, but I feel like I'm ending up rooting for so many teams. But I like Haxel, and I like that they got him. I don't think that was completely out of the blue. There was definitely some talk that he was going to come over there, and he did exactly what he does. He came in, he got picks as Mei, he got picks as Genji, and he worked very, very well with the tanks, and between him and Jonak and Mono. I mean, that's a dangerous stack. That's a lot of damage, and that's a lot of positioning. Mm-hmm. 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 Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and seeing Jonak back on Zen for even a short period of time. I mean, I did like. I think my biggest takeaway here was once again how volatile the Dynasty are. This match was going to be a 3-0. We just didn't know which way it was going to go. The Dynasty at times have been seemingly unstoppable when everything is going, but as soon as they get figured out and they get down 1-0, that's pretty much it. They're a team that either gets 3-0'd or 3-0's. That seems to be their whole shtick. But I did like, and I thought that it was a little bit of a troll slap in the face at the third map when you're already up 2-0, you're already winning pretty handedly, and then all of a sudden you switch your tank rolls around. That felt pretty. I enjoyed it, but you have what Mono was on Wrecking Ball, and Hotba was on Sigma, which Hotba plays Sigma, but you're switching those main and off tanks around. I like the experimentation. That's a good match to do it in. Yeah. But that makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's true. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, that Zen Bap is a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage coming out, and it can potentially be a lot of healing. Um, I yeah, yeah, it really is. And you've got the area of effect. That's why I like Baptiste so much, and why I think he's been a pretty standard part of the meta moving forward. You can kind of always switch to him. He has that single target like Anna, where he can just keep hitting you over and over with those heal grenades and heal up your tanks pretty quickly if they're together. And then he also has that area of effect that he can do. So, kind of like a Lucio, but not quite the same. But you have a little bit of both. And then that triple burst, you get a couple headshots, and you can melt even some of the hardiest characters. So, I liked what I saw. It's gonna be very difficult moving forward for me to not root for NYXL. Um, it's I can't do it. So if you got it for me, I would wear it. I'm not gonna buy it anyway. Uh, moving on. Um, so I think the match that we're talking about that surprised us the most is this next one. I did not expect, and probably many people didn't expect this match to be so close. But Boston has looked a lot better in the last few weeks, and we've talked about that with Fusions playing a lot better. I think that the addition of Punk over the last several weeks of play, I should say weeks of play, has been a lot better. Paris didn't necessarily look bad. I think they played about as well as they normally do, and I think just Boston kind of rose up to the occasion. Yeah. Okay. On the fence. Yeah. Yeah. By far. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, and I have been pretty high on that acquisition of Punk, and it's definitely paying off for them. I think a good off tank, and me as an off tank player, I think I feel most connected and most understanding of that position. Your job is not necessarily to deal damage or to take position or to do anything like that. Your job is to give confidence to the players around you. Sometimes that's fusions. Get him pushed up, get him aggressive, gain that charge on your Zarya, and then you can really melt. Sometimes it's your DPS. Give them the space, give them a flank, give them a path, like you said, to get there. Give them the confidence to take that. And I think with the addition of him, they just seem to be playing with a higher confidence, even if they lack some of the talent that the other teams have. I think that Paris is a more talented team, but I just don't think they play as well together. And I think you're exactly right that some of their subs in, you can tell that the chemistry isn't 100% there. Whereas even though the Uprising may not have the best DPS or best tanks, or I do think Fusions is one of the better tanks, but Punk and having that solid tank lineup can really give your DPS and your support the confidence to get in the position and get some picks and support like they're supposed to. So I think Punk really puts that position. He does that position perfectly. He gives confidence to the players around him, and that's really what you're trying to do as that off tank. Your job is not as defined as some of these other positions, and I was very happy with how they played. I was rooting for them to win the whole time. I was because I've been kind of high on them kind of getting better. So I was happy to see them get better. I agree that Punk should have started. I don't know why he didn't. He has been. So I'm not sure. Maybe they saw something in practice over the last couple of weeks that they wanted to try against maybe a team they thought they could pull out a win. But this is professional esports. A win is a win is a win. Do that stuff somewhere else. And we happen to see people do these little experimentations in times when I don't think that you should be. But all in all, I thought it was a good match. It was probably the most entertaining match. Actually, you know what? It was the most entertaining match throughout the entire weekend. I think we're gonna spend more time on this match than probably the rest combined, just because there were some takeaways, but they all went about as we knew. Yeah. 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 Yeah, and I think part of that is just simply because the Mayhem have better. I mean, they have better players currently. I don't think that Dallas is awful, and I think that they're a middle of the pack team right now, and they've been able to hang with some people. But Florida is playing lights out. They had 3 to 4 weeks to prepare for this match. It went about. I think we both called it actually. I think we both said that it was 3-1. I believe, or you said 3-0. 3-2. I said 3-1. Okay. Yeah. You don't think Yaki and for sure. But them together. Yaki and BQB. Oh, no. Between these two teams. Yeah. Yeah. No. I don't think that Yaki and BQB are the best duo DPS in the league, but they're probably top three. Sure. Tactical crouches. Yeah. Yes. Every time. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I thought, and you bring up a good point with their alt economy. I think that's something that Dallas struggles with is is when they're spending their alts. Sometimes it's almost like they don't know who's about to alt, and they'll double up on their alts, or it kind of seems at times like they're a little bit scrambled. Obviously, the Mayhem are a little bit more polished of a team, and we kind of knew that going in. Like I said, this was exactly how I thought it was going to go. I figured Dallas would be able to steal one away from them just because they do have the potential to hang with these better teams. But I think that Yaki and BQB are just too much, especially with how they can get into the back line. Yeah, Yaki's a master at flanking currently. I mean, he's one of the best, if not the best, flanking DPS in the league. And he lets everybody know about it, which is fine. Flashy plays and all that. But he even if he's just getting a pick or two, it's not always these huge triples and quads. Dallas doesn't really have that. And so I thought that their more straightforward play was going to win them a map, but overall, the Mayhem just continue to just dominate some of these teams. Now they had an easy stretch, but even in the the May Melee and stuff, they were, I mean, they were playing better teams and they were being better teams. Yes, I agree. Hmm. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Yeah, and Paintbrush coming in on Lucio in a non-Lucio meta, it's not a super good look. The next match, we actually watched a couple of these matches together, but the Gladiators and the Reign, I was thinking this one might be a little closer. I called this one at 3-2 with the Reign pulling it out. A little bit of a homer pick because I think that the Gladiators have been playing better as of late. But what was your biggest takeaways from these games? Do you think that this was more of a Reign losing it, or the Gladiators really coming out on top on this one? Well, that's against the rules. Sure. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Hmm. Yeah, and I think that normally the character locks, the hero locks, I feel like that's helped the Reign because they can there's more creativity when you're locked in a box, right? So I think that they have been one of the better teams at being able to play pretty decent no matter what heroes have been locked out. But over the last couple weeks, I agree. I don't think they really know what they want to do, and they've had Baby Bay running more Ash, which is fine. I mean, there's a lot of Ashes running out right now, but that's obviously not his strength. His strength is on a McCree, and it's not going 1v1. It's disrupting. It's going around. It's hitting multiple people. It's doing that exactly. So you're forcing your DPS and saying, well, he's a great DPS. He should be able to also, but that's not really, you're not playing to your strengths. So I agree that there's not really an identity, and I'm hoping that they find it. I mean, there's been other teams in the league that have struggled, and now that they find their identity, they're starting to pull back in the Hunters and Boston, and they've kind of found themselves. They're starting to come back. Even the Defiant later on, we're going to talk about their match, but so I like the Gladiators playing how they did. I thought that they played very well. Their tanks, obviously, I think are the centerpiece in that team, though, with Space and OG. And, Space, I know we talked about Gaguri being Diva, but actually Space is, right now, he's been hands down the best Diva player in the league. I pulled up some stats of his, if I can find them here. I took a screenshot of the Diva stats that he had because I had seen him play, and, it all made sense, but his damage and spacing, it's absolutely crazy. I know. So here it is. Oh, no. I lied. Okay. Space is Diva. First in hero damage. First in final blows. This is per 10 minutes. Average. First in hero damage. First in final blows. Second in knockback kills. Tied for second with ultimates eaten. That's huge. Ults off the board. Self-destruct kills, he's second. And final blow to death ratio is tied for second. That's with all tanks, not just off tanks, not just Diva players. That is everyone. So him playing like that, that's exactly how he should be playing. It's how I'm expecting him to play, and it's how I expect him to continue to play throughout the rest of the season. The next match, and actually the next two matches, I hate to clump them together, and I don't want to, but no, we're not. But they went exactly as they should have. Both of them. So first off, we have the Fusion playing against the Outlaws. I'll be honest, I didn't watch it. The final score told me about as much as I needed to know. I watched the highlights from the match, and I don't know if there was even in a 20-minute video, I don't know if there was even 2 minutes of highlights for the Outlaws. It's rough. Sure. Yeah. This win doesn't move them. Right. Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's a middle of the pack guy. Yeah. And that's exactly what I was going to say as well. It's unfortunate that they had to play the Fusion this week. I do agree that they've played better. And even on the highlights, they did look better in the previous weeks. I don't know why. Dante and Linkshire should never hit the bench. I understand that you got to sub out and do all that. I agree that the hydration experiment, I don't even think it's an experiment at this point. He just is a tank. That he's now a tank player and he's played very well. And I think it helps that he went from, the position he was in to tank. It gives you a little bit more knowledge of what's going on around you. Even I know these are professional players, but sometimes you locked into a spot for so long that you kind of forget what everyone else is doing while you're off flanking. So I like the experiment. I wouldn't even say it's an experiment anymore. He's definitely held his own as a tank. I agree that that's the 6 you have to run with. The issue with, I shouldn't say the issue with getting rid of, or the issue with trading Muma and Ruckus is that they have been staples of the team for 3 years. People like them. People root for them. And I don't think that Muma reminds me of Fusions. They both play very aggressive. They're a middle to a little bit higher than middle tank player, main tank. I think that Fusion's a little better than Muma, but they're both very aggressive. And that's fine if you have the firepower to back you up, but you can't play aggressively all the time. One, the other team knows exactly what you're doing. They know your scouting report. He's gonna charge. He's gonna jump in. He's gonna. It doesn't matter what you're doing, and you're playing aggressive every single time. They're expecting it. You also don't have the support to back that type of play up when those two aren't in. Repel and Jexu, when they're not in, you don't have the support to back them up, especially if they have Ruckus on an Ana or a Zen that's really trying to do more damage. I think Ruckus gets a little bit too preoccupied with the antinades instead of just healing his own team. So I think that happens a little bit too. I do like the progression that Houston has had. I don't think it's going to land them a spot in the playoffs. I don't even know if they can qualify for the playoffs, even if they went out. But they can maybe salvage this season, kind of like how the Justice did last year, with a good final stretch to end the season off on a high note. Unfortunately, I don't think that that's going to happen for Vancouver at all. I think Houston might be able to pull that out and make some runs here. Vancouver is not going to, and it's very unfortunate because these players, I'm sure, are very excited. It's their first year in the Overwatch League. And as far as I'm concerned, it's gonna end up being their last year in the Overwatch League. They're gonna pick. They have to pick up someone else. Have to. On that team. Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Say it anyway. Mm-hmm. Sure. Sure. at all. I hope not. I could see maybe, yeah, and I could see some of these getting poached and being bench players for other teams. I really could, especially some of their tanks actually really aren't that bad. They just don't have any support to back them up and any DPS to get picked. You can only be a good tank for so long in a fight. You know, your tank isn't gonna win you the fight generally. They can put you in a position to win, but you need someone else to step up and make a play. And it is very unfortunate what happened to them. And you're exactly right in that the Defiant are I would even say a middle to lower tier team right now with how that they have been playing and what I've seen. And they didn't hold a candle to them. I mean, and I think it once again really shows the disparity between real professional Overwatch League players and everyone else, including the contenders. This is a contenders team. These are not scrubs. These are contenders, tested, winning team that came in. Yes, and that came in and are getting their asses handed to them week after week, and they can't do anything about it. It's very unfortunate. But Toronto came in and did exactly what I expected and hoped that they would do. They played very well and did not stoop to the level of play that they were going against. I think they still ran what worked best for them, and they didn't really venture out of that, which I liked. I liked that they were said, you know what? We're just going to put foot on the gas, get our 3-0, and go home. What is it? Three maps and a handshake. That's where they were at. I know. Yeah. 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 I'm very happy about that. Hmm. Yeah, it's so much fun to watch, and I like watching KSP and his aiming, his positioning, his he trusts his team to get him in position. I mean it's a lot like last year with Sinatra, where his team put everything into getting him in position to make plays, and he did, and it feels like that, except it's a little bit shared because we're talking about DPS duos. This is one of the best DPS duos. Him and Shax, it doesn't matter who you kill. So you have KSP who is running as I should say normally running as your midline. Your Ash, your a little bit of McCree, stuff like that. He's a lot of Ash, but and then you have Shax who's running as Tracer and running as some of these flankers, and that's a deadly DPS combo. I mean, they're getting picks before fights even start. It's just it's been insane. I know the Justice aren't the best team, but just like the Defiant going out and doing exactly what they should have against the Titans, the Valiant went out and did exactly what they should have against the Justice. They didn't. There wasn't any weak spots in their game this weekend, And I agree once again, KSP rookie of the year. I don't know how they would give it to anyone else. There was a couple other contenders throughout the middle of the season that we had considered and everything. I I don't know. I don't know who else. No, nobody else has the stats he does, and not even just stats. Because say you're not a stats guy, just watch the guy. Just watch how he plays. He plays with the utmost confidence in himself and in his teammates, and then he gets it done. And the stats speak for it as well. So he's got both the tangible and intangible qualities that you want in your DPS, and that's it, man. Rant over. Mouse drop. Predictions. Yeah. Mm. Oh yeah. 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 Completely agree. Couldn't agree with more with anything you said. I would love to argue with you. Unfortunately, we wholeheartedly agree on all this. I would put KSB and Shax up there with Yaki and BQB as far as the DPS duos. I think they are absolutely insane. I think that KSP carries that duo a little bit more than Yaki does as far as that goes. But it's a little bit more even with Yaki and BQB. But Shax and oh, man, KSP playing together is just insane. All right, so let's do our predictions here. Um, we'll we'll read down the list. We'll give our predictions. Starting Saturday morning at 4 a.m. I will absolutely be. I don't want to know. I'm gonna turn my scores off for this one. I, 4 a.m. is in the morning. I think that was redundant. So I want to watch this match. I have been really, really high on the charge, and I'm trying not to give a whole lot of explanation on these because we will go over them in depth next week. 3-1 charge. Hunter's Spitfire. I want. I know. This is one of the ones I hadn't already come up with anything. I'm gonna guess 3-2 Hunters, and I don't feel good about it. All right, you picking the same as me means that we're wrong. For sure. No, that the Hunters won. The fact that we both said that they're gonna win means that the Spitfire is gonna win. Spark Excelsior. I'm gonna say 3-1 Excelsior, maybe 3-0. Mm-hmm. Sure. Shock Paris Eternal. I think the Shock just 3-0 him. I don't think it's close. Are you gonna say 3-1 the Paris? Okay. 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 That's your bold prediction. All right. Toronto and Reign, we saw them in the May Melee, so we already got a little bit of a preview. I say Toronto wins again 3-2. And it hurts me to say that. Okay. Okay. Gladiators Outlaws, I think it's 3-0. Gladiators are playing too good. Houston can't handle them. Okay. You think they'll drop a match? Or drop a map? Okay. 3-0, moving on. I know we're both going to say 3-0 for Fuel. Well, so hold on. Go ahead. Okay. Okay, 3-0, moving on. Charge again playing against the Spark. It's the next day. We have jumped forward in time. I think this is one of my matches to watch. I think this is going to be a very good one. And no. I'm not watching it. Just a match to watch. Without knowing the score, I'm going to say 3-1 Charge. I wish I could say a caveat because I think if the Charge lose to the Dynasty, I think they'll 3-0 them. I think the Spark will 3-0 Charge if they lose to the Dynasty. Yeah. I think they'll be reeling from that. Shanghai and the Hunters, as well as the Hunters, have upped their game. I think that Shanghai are going to just dirty mop water all over them. 3-0. Oh, okay. Well, you said 3-1 Hunters, and I was like, oh, okay. Okay. Excelsior and Spitfire. I think this one's closer than we think. I think it's going to end up being 3-2. And I think that it's potentially even a reverse sweep for NYXL. I think they'll lose early maps to Spitfire. That's my bold prediction. Yeah. Boston Fusion, this is not going to go well for Boston. I think they can steal a map. Yes, I think they can steal a map. Fusion 3-1. So we agree on that one. This is another one to watch. Match of the week. Valiant Mayhem. Who you got? Man, my heart says take the Valiant. My analytical brain says that the Mayhem are a better team all around. I'm going to take the Valiant 3-1. No. Yeah. I should say another bold prediction is I think Valiant are going to win 3-1. That's my guess. 3-1. I think Mayhem only pick up a map. 3-1 Valiant. Yep. Okay. We got to watch that one together. Yep. Shock 3-0. Justice aren't going to steal a map against one of the best teams in the league. It's just not going to happen. What video are you gonna provide us with if they win? You know what? I want you to chug a bottle of maple syrup. No, hey, it's a low chance. It's a low chance. If the Justice win, I think you should chug a bottle of. It's a small one, but I think you should chug a bottle of maple syrup. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's you saying yes. Okay. If the Justice pull off the upset. All right. Well, I ain't got nothing else for you, man. Mm-hmm. Okay. Dude, it's not even a hot take. I can't believe there are. Do you know that there are people out there that like it? Like I looked at the Overwatch page. Although I feel bad for Sinatra because he's getting a lot of hate, and he had nothing to do with it. Yeah. Yes. Dude. The Spitfire Winston skin. Yeah, and I kind of like the Winston skin. It wasn't super flashy. Jonax was sweet. I did really like the Shock Doomfist. A lot of people didn't, but I mean the crater slamming down and it's saying, they're putting their logo on the ground, like all that. It was really cool. This skin is awful. None. And terrible. Like Men in Black something something. I Yes, please. Yep. All right. All right. Everybody go run to the Overwatch League Instagram and let them know how terrible the skin is and that you expect better. And you can they go trash the skin. You can also follow us on our Twitches, Skitch121 and Senile King 13 respectively. I have also unfortunately downloaded and made a TikTok. So same name on there. Um, Listen, here's the thing. I posted one video. It got 330 views and I gained 3 followers. Anyway, I miss Vine. All right. Have a good week, everybody. We will see you next week.